I love to invite our first speaker, Dr. Ray Hershberger, to the floor. Dr. Hershberger is here all the way from Ohio and Ohio State Universities. He's a heart transplant cardiologist. He also runs the DCM Consortium, which is a multi-institutional project that's funded by the NIH to do the DCM precision medicine study. And he has numerous accolades and awards, like he's the leading expert on this field. I won't go into all, just trust me when I say he's kind of a big deal. And we're very lucky to have him here with us tonight.
We actually did publish the first paper on BAG3 back in 2010. In fact, I was just at the genetics meetings in Boston, and the postdoc who presented that paper at the American Society of Human Genetics, where it was, I bumped into her and we were recounting that. And then Ryan, being the smart guy he was, called me soon after Becky's diagnosis, and that was the connection. And then I said, you need to talk to Greg Ruff, and everybody knows Greg. So I'm a researcher, and my life for genetics has been shown on this slide, really to understand genetic causes of dilated cardiomyopathy and to translate that new knowledge into the practice of medicine to help people. Dilated cardiomyopathy, the dilated part means enlarged. The cardiomyopathy, it literally means heart muscle disease. So dilated cardiomyopathy is heart muscle disease. You can think of it as muscular dystrophy of the heart. So what's the heart? Of course, it's a blood pump. Its job is to pump blood. And there are three main parts: heart muscle, an electrical system to keep the beat, and a blood supply to nourish the muscle. So the medical terminology, of course, myocardium, conduction system disease, and a blood supply, the coronary arteries. Now, there's the heart. The blue blood, of course, takes blood back from the body, and it goes to the right atrium, the right ventricle, out to the lung to give off carbon dioxide and get oxygen. It comes back into the pulmonary arteries, into the pulmonary veins, into the left atrium and the left ventricle, and then goes out the aorta to the body. And that's, of course, the four-chamber mammalian heart. This is the conduction system disease, which I won't go through this in detail, but the sinus node starts the beat. It comes down through a specialized conduction system to the AV node, which puts a block in because, hold this microphone for me. As you know, the atrium squeezes, fills the ventricle, so it's this motion. The atrium squeezes, fills the ventricle, so you need a block in there, and that's the AV node, the atrioventricular node that puts a delay in, so that there's this synchronous beating of the atrium and the ventricle. And then this is the conduction system disease. The right ventricle, the right bundle, and the left bundle has a couple of branches, and that then makes the heart. It's an amazing organ that, has to beat continuously, 24 hours a day for the rest of your life. This is the blood supply. The left and right coronary arteries, sorry about that, shown here. The right coronary artery, the left coronary artery, and this is a much prettier picture of showing the blood supply, this, again, amazing organ. This is a cholesterol plaque in a coronary artery. If that ruptures and forms a clot, that causes a heart attack. So coronary blockage, we call that, if there's a lot of heart muscle lost, we call that an ischemic cardiomyopathy, heart muscle disease from a heart attack. So this is a cartoon of the ventricle pumping blood. That ejection fraction, Becky noted that her ejection fraction was down in the teens. That's a normal ejection fraction, which is normally 55 to 65% with each beat of the heart. This is a dilated, enlarged left ventricle. And when that pumps, even though it's a lot more blood here, it doesn't pump out very much, and that is a reduced ejection fraction. And that's, I'll guess, 15, 20%. I didn't measure it, but that's pretty much what it looks like. And so you can see that this ventricle thickens up normally and it squeezes out a lot of blood. It's normal. And this big thing doesn't work very well. That's the problem that we deal with. Why study it? To prevent it. So, sorry, this slide is a little harder to see, but I'm a heart failure transplant cardiologist. Heart failure causes morbidity and mortality. That's sickness and death. And again, I'm a transplant cardiologist. It works. We save lives, and people are way sick, and it's nothing like helping somebody get a new life, like Greg Ruff, wherever he is. He's back on his feet, and he's doing very well. But it's enormous impact on patients and families, and an enormous drain on the healthcare system. It doesn't start with advanced heart failure. It starts with dilated cardiomyopathy months or years before this late phase disease. And that dilated cardiomyopathy in adults starts with a normal heart. This is an asymptomatic phase here. So people don't know they have dilated cardiomyopathy until they finally present with advanced disease. That's the problem. Now, how are we going to figure that out? There is clinical disease. It's asymptomatic if we will look for it. And there's risk of disease. Risk of disease is genetics. So the idea here is that genetic information can help us know who to surveil with screening with early intervention to prevent clinical disease. We have guidelines to screen family members. We also are developing gene-specific treatment. And then also we have population-based genetic screening to be developed. The real goal is to understand enough genetics, which we do not yet understand, that when we all get sequenced, and all of our genomes are known, people who carry BAG3 variants or Titin variants or NY7, all these different genes that cause dilated cardiomyopathy, we will know who is at risk so we can do early surveillance and intervene before people need a heart transplant. Still a dream, but we're going to try to make it happen. So we want to prevent dilated cardiomyopathy. We also screen family members, and if we can dial in early therapy, we will prevent late phase disease. I'm a transplant cardiologist. I always talk to my transplant cardiology colleagues, don't worry, there's going to be enough business for you, even if we get some prevention going, but we're going to try to do that anyway. So what's heart failure? It's a clinical syndrome that I won't read through that, but in plain English, heart failure is a total body illness with signs and symptoms resulting from any kind of heart trouble that impairs the ability of the heart to pump blood, its primary job. So the principal signs are low flow, reduced cardiac output, fatigue, no pep, shortness of breath with exertion, salt and water retention. This is edema, orthopnea. You need to sleep with more than one pillow, and paroxysmal nocturnal dyspnea. Wake up in the middle of the night, short of breath, have to sit up at the edge of the bed to catch your breath. Those are the main symptoms. Also arrhythmias, less common, but also can present. So idiopathic is the medical word that means we don't know what caused it. When I did my training, let's see, is it 50 or 80 years ago? No, anyhow, it was a long time ago. We called this idiopathic dilated cardiomyopathy because we didn't know what caused it. And I figured out a long time ago it was probably genetics. And so the diagnosis of dilated cardiomyopathy is made when all usual clinical causes of DCM have been excluded, including coronary heart disease. Coronary heart disease, still a major killer. Everybody needs to be heart healthy and all of that. That's not what we study. We study genetics. And most of DCM has a genetic basis. Now, in the last 30 minutes, I'm going to go through each of these slides, each of these genes, and tell you all about it. This is actually a figure that Ana Morales, who will speak next, we were colleagues together at Miami and at OSU. DCM is shown in the middle, and then all these genes, names show, this is just to show that it's complicated. Dilated cardiomyopathy and has some overlap genetically with hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, a different kind of cardiomyopathy, with arrhythmogenic right ventricular cardiomyopathy, with channelopathies and arrhythmia syndromes, and some neuromuscular disease. And the bottom line is that's what we study. And most of DCM is genetic, and that's what gets me up in the morning, keeps me going. I think that's my last slide. One comment. The strength of evidence, this slide is, of course, out of date. It's out of date as soon as you publish it. But the evidence for each of those genes in association with DCM varies a lot. And we're just completing another major paper. In fact, I was working on that in the plane on the way out. That is really very helpful. So thank you for the opportunity to present. And thank you to Becky and Ryan for making this happen. And thank you all for supporting the DCM Foundation.